paper on your tables. They're face down, and I want you to keep them that way for now. Okay? I like your haircut. That's cute. That's really cool. That was like daring. Were you scared? Or did you just let it go and you didn't care?
I didn't care.
You didn't care, you just let it go. It's just hair, right? It grows back. It's cute, I like it. Okay. So last Friday, we talked about, I told you that we were going to be learning a new reading strategy, and I said that we would have a visitor, and we do. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be introduced to the Rurow strategy and learn how to use the multi-flow map to answer cause and effect questions. Because of time, because I got here kind of late, we're probably just going to start with the Rurow strategy before we go to specials. And then when we come back, then we'll quickly go over the new map that we have to learn. Okay? Sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Good. All right. Let's go. Turn and talk to somebody next to you. Let's talk about the 3 maps that we've already learned about. Turn and talk and discuss the 3 maps that we've already learned. All right, yo, yo, yo. What's up? So, I heard a lot of keywords. I heard that word adjective over here. I heard bubble map. I heard circle map. So what were the 3 maps that we talked about, and how are they used? Give me one, Jackson.
Double bubble.
Okay, and how's a double bubble used?
To compare and contrast.
To compare and contrast. Stacy.
The circle map.
A circle map. And what's a circle map for?
To define or brainstorm.
Okay, to define or brainstorm. Very good. Kajada.
The bubble map is where we compare something to an adjective.
Okay, are we using it to compare something when we're using that bubble map? I like that you said adjectives. We're doing what? We're describing things, and we're using adjectives in the bubble map. Good. All right. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take the 3 maps that we've already learned, and we're going to learn this new strategy called the Rurow strategy. Unfortunately, the sound doesn't work. I tried with the whole with Scooby-Doo, but it's okay. You guys can imagine it, or you could just say it. How does Scooby-Doo say Rurow? Okay. So we're going to learn about answering open and extended response questions. What does that mean? To answer an open and extended response question. What do you think that means? If I said, okay, we're going to answer an extended response question. We've done it before. Extended response. What do you think that means, Jackson?
When you get deeper into your response.
Okay, when you get deeper into your response. But what if Stacy doesn't know what response means? So what does that mean?
When you get deeper into what you're saying.
Okay. So when you get deeper into what you're saying, so when you're responding to something, what are you doing?
You're quoting.
Okay, you could use a quote. Or when you're responding to a question, what are you doing? Like you're responding to my question, so what are you doing? You're answering a question. So it's saying you're answering open and extended response questions. Okay? So longer questions where you have to actually write more information and write evidence. You guys remember doing that? Yes. Okay. So, Rurow. What does Rurow stand for? It's actually an acronym. Rurow is an acronym that stands for read, understand, reread, organize, and write. And I had to say it a few times to kind of get it in my mind because I kept forgetting, but I knew Rurow, and I was like, what's the first R? What's the second R? But it's read, understand, reread, organize, and write. All right? So we're going to talk about each of these steps and what they mean when we have an open response question. All right. We did this already. This was a circle map. We just kind of skipped through a little bit where we talked about what's an open response question. All right. Why would we use a circle map for that question? Why would we use a circle map here? Why? Nathaniel, calling on you. For that question, I'm asking, what is an open response question? Why would I use a circle map?
Because a circle map, you can help brainstorm ideas like what a circle map is.
Okay, so, but like what a circle map is, but for this particular instance, what am I doing?
You are coming up with, you are trying to brainstorm about an open response question, like a question, an open response.
Okay, you guys agree with it? Yeah, we're brainstorming and we're listing things that we know about an open response question. That's why we would use the circle map. All right, let's start with what Rurow means, okay? Rurow, the first R is to read the passage and questions. The U is to understand what you are being asked to do. The next R is to reread the passage, looking for answers and evidence. Organize your thoughts, and then write your response. Okay? So when we have open response questions, this is what we want to get into the habit of doing. We want to use our Rurow strategy. Okay? So here's a Rurow flow map. That's another one of our maps that we haven't talked about yet, but this kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. And the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to tell you about this flow map, and then I want you to kind of tell me what you think this flow map does. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is read. Then we're going to understand, reread, looking for evidence and details and answers. We're going to organize by using a thinking map. And then we're going to start writing. We're going to start answering this question. Did I answer the question? Is my response organized? And is my evidence included? Look at this map. It's called a flow map. What do you think a flow map is used for? Just by looking at that, what we just did with the Rurow strategy, what do you think a flow map is used for?
Describing steps that you have to do, like first, and then it goes to the second step.
Exactly. You're exactly right. So we're describing, what Jillian said is we're describing steps. It's sequencing. We're doing what comes first, then what comes next, and then what comes after that. Could we use that map for something else? What could we use that for? Give me an idea of what we could use that flow map for.
Summarizing.
Summarizing, I like that. How could we use it for summarizing?
To tell the main idea of the book.
Okay.
The second box. You write and keep making efforts on what
Okay, but if we're summarizing and then we're kind of putting it in order, how would we do that? How would we do that? Philip.
Explanation first, writing action next, and R next.
Oh, I like that. So Philip is using the plot mountain, and so he's kind of doing this is what happened first, and then this is what happened next, and then this is what happened. But he's putting it in the order of what happens in the plot. That's perfect, because you're putting it in sequence in the order that it happened. Yes?
You can make an organized list.
You could make an organized list, but would you do that in a flow map? If you're sequencing something and putting it in order? Probably not. If you're making a list, which one would you want to do? If you're listing things, what would you want to do instead? What would you want to do instead? Jillian, what would you want to do instead?
Or the bubble map or the circle map.
So if you're describing something, you want to use a bubble map. But a circle map if you're listing things, definitely, right? Like we're doing with our vocabulary words. We're listing what we know about the words. We're listing the definitions. We're listing synonyms and antonyms and even pictures if you want to. Okay? All right, so let's go back to the Rurow strategy. The first R is to read. And what that means is you need to read the passage, the information, instructions, and questions to get the main idea. The U is to understand. You want to read your question carefully and completely. Rewrite the question in your own words. And then you want to reread. And we've done that. We've done that with our close reading. Remember, you don't just read it once. We read it over and over again to kind of get a good, deep understanding of what we're looking at. So you're looking for answers. You're looking for evidence and details to support your answer. What's that mean when I say I'm looking for evidence and details to support your answer? What does that mean? What do you think that means? Jasmine, if I'm looking for evidence and details to support my answer, what is that? Okay, so Jasmine said, I'm looking back in the book, and I'm looking for the answer, and I want to write down evidence for what I'm writing, right, to support my answer. So if I said, let me give you an example. If I said, we all read The City of Denver, okay? If I said, June was unhappy about his assignment, could I have evidence to support that? What kind of evidence would support that? And we're just going by memory based on what we remember. What evidence could support that, Kajada?
He asked Lena to trade.
He asked Lena, was her name Lena or Lena? Lena. He asked Lena to trade jobs with him, right? What other evidence in the story made us think that he didn't really care for his assignment? Christian.
He kept saying that he wanted to help the city with the lights, so he wanted to do the pipe work together.
Right, he kept saying that he wanted to help the city. He wanted to work on the generator. Alexis, was there anything else that you can think of? Evidence to support why he wasn't happy with his assignment.